Here it is. I have it, issue number 1 of the new Captain Marvel comic, written by Kelly Thompson. Carmen Carnero is the artist and Tamara Bonvillain is the colorist. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking about my thoughts on this, asking about whether I'm going to cover it, what do I foresee, all of those sorts of things. Now, let me say this. Though I will always prefer Captain Marvel as Marvel and Rick Jones, I don't necessarily, let's say, hate Carol Danvers. Though I will never think of her as like the Captain Marvel, I can still tolerate her. She's not like a new character or anything like that for those that really don't know. She's been around since the late 60s, long before I was ever even thought about being born. But we know that she does have a movie coming up. It's releasing soon, and we believe that she's obviously going to be in a new Avengers movie right after that. So, of course, there was going to be like a comic that sort of went along with that. That's how they capitalized on it. That's exactly what they should do. But we know why you're here, considering all of my thoughts on social justice corniness in comics. Is Captain Marvel going to beat you over the head with social justice, with leftism, feminism? It's really basically at this point an expectation, unfortunately, that this comic will have that approach. And certainly everybody is really preparing for that. It's like, you know, that's what we're expecting, right? Now, I want to be very clear. I thoroughly support the comic book industry. This is the reason why I was going to buy this regardless, at least initially, so I can see it for myself instead of taking just people's word for it. And now as I'm reading these issues, if it looks like it's gonna be a bunch of garbage, then I'll stop at that point, but I'll always give something, you know, a tryout. I'll give it a time of day for the sake of the industry. Remember that regardless of what type of crap they pull off, like in the past, they can always change, and they have. And that's why I really give them a chance. Now, I actually encourage all of you to really do the same, because I'm not gonna show you like every single page of this new comic. I would never do that for a new comic. But anyway, let's get into it. Let me first start by saying that I really like the color and the artwork. Rarely do I complain, you know, about stuff like this in new comics. It really has to be like weird for me to say that I don't like it. So for starters, I enjoyed all of that, and there's nothing wrong with the comic really in that regards. Now, the backstory, obviously, of the character itself, which you can see sort of here, and it does give you a brief background as far as to what has taken place up until now, what sort of scenario that we're dealing with in terms of this version of Carol Danvers. And, you know, obviously born to a human father, Kree mother, used to be a pilot, and her powers were sort of activated by this Kree device. Now, over the last year, she's stepped down from being an Avenger as well as a member of the Alpha Flight to take care of her injured brother. And then her mother, who was hiding her identity, was killed by a Kree assassin. And, you know, here we are. Now, my attention was really grabbed immediately by the first couple of pages with, you know, Captain Marvel fighting this big ass green monster in Lower Manhattan. Again, the art and color work is amazing. But here we also see Jessica Drew fighting with her, and she, of course, is the first Spider-Woman, and here she serves as the best friend of Captain Marvel. And they do end up defeating this sort of green monster, and Iron Man does end up showing up. Well, a bunch of Iron Men, if I can get over there. So a bunch of Iron Men show up, a bunch of remote control Iron Men, and they dispose of this big green monster. Now, one thing that I did notice right off the bat is that some of the dialogue here is a little cheesy, but that should be expected. It's cheesy to the point to where it even feels a little authentic, so it's easy to deal with. We also get a chance to see Hazmat make an appearance, and she's one of the Avengers Academy kids. And in getting Danvers back in the Avengers, Stark is asking her to sort of reel her in, because I guess she's insubordinate. Now, Danvers has basically talked noise to everybody pretty early on in this comic, letting them know how much stronger she is than them. Now, everybody other than really James Rhodes, and he shows up, and you know him as, of course, the War Machine, that is. And if you read Civil War and the Captain America issues that dropped a couple of years ago, then you know that he ended up getting killed by Thanos. And he also became a bit of a love interest to Captain Marvel. So consider this a bit of a reunion. Unfortunately, their reunion is broken up by Nuclear Man, and this is where things take a turn for the worse, bro. I really thought that they were going to not, take it there. At least not in the first issue, but they did, and it's like they couldn't resist. These fools waited until the end, and they set you up thinking they were not going to have an, oh, because I'm a woman conflict. It's like these fools just really couldn't resist, bro. They weren't even clever with it, bro. If you know the history of Machismo, aka Nuclear Man, then you know where he's from and you know what time it is, because he's from a world that's dominated by men, right? So to be frank, really what he does, he really serves as a damn token for the patriarchy, so to speak. The only reason he shows up randomly, so that's like the only reason that he exists is to serve as a representative of the patriarchy. Only these fools can have the Avengers such as Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America all show up. They all show up by the end of this comic, and they lay a complete egg. Only they could do that, bro. Right off the rip, Nuclear Man is taking shots at women, calling Captain Marvel just another woman and saying that basically she must bow down to him. He even applies this weakening ray, right? And he specifically says it's the most effective on, and I quote, on the frail and easily persuaded female species. So he kidnaps a female reporter. She goes after him and says that she's basically not losing her to a 7-foot misogynist. And that's how the issue ends. Way to pop off the first issue. Make me think that y'all will relax and not force it with the writing, build me up, only to set me up for failure. Damn it, bro. It was so forced. It was ridiculous. Again, you can approach this same sort of concept and not be so, not creative with it. It's like the primary reason they placed him there, in the first issue of this female character, which you're building around, was to make this particular point. It was that randomized. Jesus Christ, these fools over at Marvel, man. But we'll see, right? I'm going to give them a shot. I'll see what direction it goes in, because it does have some good aspects it can build on. But golly, bro, can a female character for once just be badass on her own without all the whack shit?